What up, brothers? It's the Clipper King returning for a brand new review on the figure you see in front of you. And as you can see, it's Batman from the Batman Returns. And I'd like to start out by saying a massive thank you to Lee Ward, who is the owner of The Good, The Bad and The Robots, the online store in the UK. Massive thank you to him for getting in touch with me and saying that he had this figure available for review. So very good of him to sponsor this review. I always need help, boys. I don't always ask for it, but I do always need it. That's the honest truth. So when guys like Lee or Wyman do send me figures to review, I massively appreciate it, because sometimes it's figures that I have no intention of buying, although I'm always asked if I'm going to review it. So massive thank you to him. It means a lot that he sent me this figure. Having said that, you will know without me telling you that I'm going to do a completely honest review on it, tell you the pluses and the minuses of the figure as a whole, tell you what I like, what I don't like, what I would change about it. Everything that I can think of telling you, I will tell you. I know a lot of guys, particularly from the Facebook group, have been waiting for this review, and tonight I'm going to get it all finished, cut, and try and get it uploaded for the Saturday viewership. And obviously there'll be no biased reviewing in the vain attempt to try and sell a few of these figures for Lee Ward. Everybody knows that's not how I operate, so the things I say will just be as I see the figure tonight. So, rolling on to the packaging first. As you can see, it is just a head sculpt shot from the figure, not a production shot from the film. I do kind of like it, and I will say the likeness actually looks really good on the box with the faceplate they chose. They have got quite a good shot of the figure. In the background you see Gotham City and the sort of the snow effect coming down. Most of the film is set in the winter time, as you all know, or you know have seen it, and it does give good artwork to the box. The style of the box is just a basic shoebox. There's no more artwork even worth noting. Obviously the credits on the back and an inlay slip. It's nothing really to see here, so it is only the front cover shot I'm going to show you. Inside it's just your typical clam trays. It is all good quality, but it's nothing out of the ordinary, so I'm just going to give it a very simple 3 out of 5. Right, moving on to the likeness. And this is pretty much a mixed bag. I'm going to try and cover my thoughts completely, and it'll probably leave you knowing exactly where I would compare it to, or how I would compare it, should I say, to the 89 version. I'll start off by telling you the plus points. I like the overall shape and the sculpt of the cowl altogether. Although it is sharp on the spiked sections, I will pick up on that again when I get to the outfit. But into the neck, the shape, the sort of like the framework as it comes down here, into the eyebrows, the really deep sort of angry scowl, sort of cutaway down into the nose, the mouth section, the really long spikes. I just think it all looks very good and very menacing. It gives off a very imposing look when you compare it to the sort of softer, rounder 89 version. Although I've got to be honest here and say, regardless of which faceplate you put on, to me, I don't see Michael Keaton as much as I did in the original Batman, or the 89 Batman. Sorry if my references aren't clear. We've had that many Batmans from Hot Toys, it's hard to keep naming them. Yeah, I always said, and if you remember, the 89 Batman were my favourite figure for quite a long time, and simply because I always used to say it's just like a shrunk down version straight from the film, and I always saw and always respected the fact that a masked figure could have such a good likeness that I could always see Michael Keaton inside. This one I can, but it's not as strong, and it don't blow my mind like that one did. So I'll make that clear. I am also going to say I do like the new use of the eyes, where you move the eyes individually. A little bit more effort, but it also stops. Sometimes you get some DX figures and the purrs doesn't work, or it does work, but it's not 100% true. So I think on my Indiana Jones, on some pictures, it looks slightly cockeyed, just because when you move the joystick, it doesn't move the eyes evenly. So I'm glad now that they have gone to this sort of eye system that Enterbay actually originated. Hot Toys used it on the Hulk figure, and I do prefer it. I think there's less chance of it breaking, and I think with a little bit of tinkering the eyes are always going to look even. So I am going to show you that mechanism. I'm also going to show you how you swap out the mouth plates. Like I said, keep in mind, I think regardless which mouth plate you put on, it still doesn't look, the likeness still isn't as strong as the 89 version. That's just my opinion. I will also say another little nitpick is these two face plates. I saw it said before I even opened this figure, too similar, and I do agree with it. I could understand them giving you one of those, but why not go ultra aggressive or even a smirk, something? But they sort of both got that dumb fuck look on the face where the upper teeth are slightly showing, and he's got that, I don't know, kind of pursed lips, and I don't know, regardless which one you put on, it don't make that much of a difference, but it's still nice that they have given it you. So, how does the head work? As you can see, just give you another shot, the eyes, so nice and close on the face. Now, if I turn it around, oop, you see again, it's got the removable section at the back of the head. So you see the seam, and then you just remove that, which I should be able to do quite easily. It does work on a magnet system. Looking down into the head, you see the individual stem on the eyes. It actually comes with this sort of what looks like a little flashlight device. That section goes onto the back of the individual stems, and then you use this end for pushing out the mouth plates. So you would be, like I said, using that on the back of the eyes until they're both even, and then looking down that flesh coloured section in there, you would put the back of that on and push it through. I'm not going to do it on camera simply because a lot of you will have already seen this figure by now anyway, and secondly, I get a feeling that if I were to start trying to move it around, I'm not going to get the shot I want, and also there's a chance that I'm going to knock it off the stand. But what I will do instead of that is do a little bit of fade work, show you the eye straight forward with the closed mouth, the eyes looking right with the one slightly open mouth, and then the wider open mouth with the eyes looking to his left. So they're the looks you can get. Obviously you can vary up the eyes, vary up the faceplate, and you're gonna help the pose, because with no neck articulation, the eyes are gonna need doing. I just want to point out before I move on and give you the score, I have put certain folds into the cape to sort of bring the cape off the body. I am going to talk about the cape in the outfit section, but then I am going to swap it out. So going back to the closed mouth with the eyes looking down, I am going to tell you the likeness, because I don't think it's as striking as the first version and a lot of other head sculpts I've seen now, not only by Hot Toys, by a lot of other companies, I can't give it the perfect 5. So I'm going to be a little bit nitpicky and move it down to a 4 out of 5. Moving on to the outfit, and I'm guessing most of you guys will know what I'm going to say before I even do this category. I'm going to score it up and I'm going to talk about every part of it. So here we go. As you see, I've now got the cape closed, draped as close around him as I can get it, just about. You probably know what I'm referring to. So let's start off. The cowl shape and down into the neck, I really do like. I think it's got something that the first version didn't really have, a more menacing, more imposing style look about it, with a, like I said, with a deep set sort of scowl on the eyebrow section, sort of the really straight lines, the pointed ears. It just looks a little bit more badass in my opinion. Moving down, the badge or symbol or emblem, whatever you want to call it, I really do like. Gone back to the more classic shape, slightly different to the first version. And then the next thing under that is this cape. So, plus points. I think the material on the outer part of the cape is really accurate looking and is only single ply, so I would say that's an improvement on the first version. Inside, get this sort of satin feel. It's not wired around the edges. The first version were wired down there and along the bottom, if you remember, so you could fold it back and forth on itself and get it a little bit tighter. This time they've gone for the wired spines of the cape. So you've got like a wire in here, a wire in this spine. The next spine doesn't have a wire. The back one doesn't have a wire. The next one doesn't. That one does, and then the other front one does. So it does have 4 wires in the cape. So you can sort of get a look like that. Although, because of the sort of how the cape is, bearing in mind this is accurate to the film, I know, this is pretty much how it looks in the film. It never looks natural to me, and I'm not a massive fan of it. The leather look, because they've tried to replicate it, it's just a little bit too thick. It never seems to hang right. It doesn't drape. You can pose it, but not outstanding, because the wire is not quite thick enough to get like some sort of wind-blown pose. You would have to be futzing with it for a fucking 4 week. So again, they've tried, but totally missed the ball again. They're getting closer, so they will get there one day. The cape, for me, has got to go. And this is for Hot Toys. Note to Hot Toys. I don't know if you know Hot Toys, but there's a guy in the 1/6 community, and he goes by the name of Tony May. Find him. He lives in America. He's got a easy to remember email address. He's a great guy, and he makes capes. I'm sure you know him. Now, let's move to the past. As you see, my 89 Batman, I weren't going to show it in this review, but I've pretty much got to, because that is how mine stands. Now, the cape is a custom cape by Tony May. Look at how it falls. It does have a leather look outer, as you can see, like a cracked leather feel. It does have the spine stitched in, although none of it's wired, but just look how it falls. That's so. For the rest of this review, this Batman is going to be wearing this cape, simply because it's so much easier to work with. You can pull it off the body easier, you can sort of fold it back easier like that, so you can see the suit, and it's just a better cape. So when a customizer is making better capes than a multi-million-pound company like Hot Toys, somebody at Hot Toys needs the nose pushing out a joint, because the fucking cape department are dreadful. I can't think of one cape that they've done right other than Leonidas's. That's where I stand on cape. So I'm not going to fucking go on and on about it. The cape is a decent try, but a fail all in all. Let's swap it out, and then I'll talk about the rest of the outfit. So now I've swapped out the cape, slung it over his back so he can actually look at the rest of the outfit. One thing a note, I just want to mention, anybody who owns the custom cape for the 89 Batman made by Tony May, I just want to say that because of the different sort of point design on the cowl, the spines of the cape don't line up to this cowl. They actually only line up to the 89 version. I'll show you what I mean in a minute, but I just want to film this section first and show the rest of the outfit. Right. So the majority of the outfit is this soft sort of silicone, really well done. Although I prefer the design on the original Batman 89, I think they've done this one better. So the materials used are better. I think it works better around the body, although I'm not keen of the more vents than the sort of sculpted abs. This suit is got more of a mechanical look about it, I suppose. I'm not even sure why. If anybody knows why the suit changed, put it in the comments. It'd be interesting to find out. But like I said, although I don't like the look of it, or I don't prefer the look of it over the 89 version, I do think it moves better. It is a lot softer and a lot more pliable underneath. You find it does have kind of a squidgy undersuit. I will mention as well, there's no indentation on the pecs on this one, what I have seen on some of the others. Because the arms have been bent, at some point you do see sort of the indentation in the arm, but the suit does feel really good and really durable. Moving down to the gauntlets, as you can see, they are sculpted with the spikes on the underside. Moving down to the sculpted gloved hands, which I think are remakes of or recasts of the original hands. I could be wrong. So yeah, I do like the suit all in all. And when I get into the articulation, I'll show that although the articulation is limited, I don't think it's any more limited than the real suit would have been. Moving down to the yellow back belt, again with the capsules going around it, and the magnet on the front, which will hold some of his accessories. Again, nice touch. Moving down, got the codpiece section, which is quite squidgy, as you can see. Bat dick, a bit of bat balls going on. Moving down to the sculpted leg, again, suit feels really nice, really. I'll tell you what it feels like. Anybody who's had the 1/4 scale Batman from Enter Bay, it feels like that. It definitely feels more like silicone than rubber, which I think is an improvement. Moving down to the boots with the bat symbols, as you can see. Looking from the side, nice sculpt, and sort of the shin guard I really like. And there is slight articulation, but not a lot. So all in all, like I said, the appearance of the suit, I still prefer the 89, but the work on this one is better. Definite improvement. It's it's better to the touch. It works better with the body than the other one. And like I said, other than the shit stock cape, there's no real downside to the outfit. Bear in mind, I've got to get up to the articulation yet. So, I'm going to give the outfit a 4 out of 5. If they would have given a like-for-like cape to the Tony May cape, then I would have easily given the outfit a 5 out of 5. But, again, they dropped the ball on the cape. Right, so moving on to articulation. I am taking into account how much I think the original suit moved, which is probably not a lot. It was famous and everybody knows, any Bat fan or any film fan knows, the Batsuit has always been infamous for not being able to move the neck. It's understandable because the cowl going up through the neck into the head sculpt has always been a complete part until it changed in the Dark Knight movie. So that I'm taking into account, although I am still going to compare it to the most nimble of true types, because that is how I get a fair score. So you know straight away it's not getting a 5 because its arms won't touch each other, it won't get a really tight bend, the legs won't spread, and so on and so forth. But what will it do? Look at the pose first. I'll give you some angles. Got him pushing off on his right foot, got his left foot off, his cape rotating round from his left to his right, and we're just throwing the left, or he's coming across with the right. So you can drink that bitch in, boys. Don't forget Uncle Clipper showed you, because that's not a bad one. You might see that one on Instagram at some point tomorrow. So drink that bitch in. Anyway, so neck, non-existent, pretty much 3mm either way tops, and you won't want to turn it because the spikes are proper sharp, so you're going to have a rag your cape or you're going to scratch through into your suit, so I would avoid any neck movement anyway. I will say though, the eyes move really nicely, the faceplate pops in and out really nicely, and the head pops on and off really nicely also, so they are the plus points. You see I've swapped out the cape. The stock cape can get in the way sometimes because it's bulky in its own right, so bear that in mind, and like I've showed, this isn't the stock cape. I was surprised to see that the elbow got a nice tight bend and has come away from the body quite nicely. Like I said, the suit is soft and pliable. I wouldn't leave it in a position like that because I wouldn't want it to crack or deteriorate, but it will do it. So that's not a bad bend through the elbow, a lot better than I thought. I will also say on this figure that it does have a ratchet elbow, as you see, so it will hold the pose, which is nice, where the first version were pretty much governed by the suit, so that is nice. There is also Movement in the shoulder, although very, very limited. There is an ab crunch, but what happens when you crunch it up is the suit moves with it. So you sometimes get sort of a twist through the suit. So just be conscious. I'll try and get a pose where it's more dipped. I can't dip it because of the pole holding it in place. But yeah, like I say, it does move nicely. Look how soft it is and pliable. So you can get a bit of a twist through it and a bit of a dip or reverse crunch. So that is quite nice. The most limited place on the articulation is in this area, because you feel that if you're gonna try and do a split or an extreme kick, it's just not going to have it. There's no sort of give in the sections there and there, so bear that in mind. That's why the legs are still pretty close together. You're talking probably 2-inch maximum between the kneecaps, and that would probably be the most it would do. I will say though, the knee bend is good. Again, using the ratchets, it does hold it well. As you can see, got quite a nice bend in that leg, so it will do that. Again, I'm not sure I would leave it in that position for any length of time, simply because you've got sort of an extreme bend through the silicone or the rubber, whatever you think it is, and you don't want it to make indentations in your suit, or worse still, crack and split. The ankle articulation, the book says it will do it. I find it very hard. The boot is quite an hard sculpt. It does feel pliable, and you can see with a bit of pressure you can squeeze it, although I think if you were to position the foot, it's pretty much going to work its way back into the position it wants to go into. But I've got to say, I don't think that's too bad. It's better than I thought it was going to be, I'll say that. And it is an improvement on the 89 Batman, I've got to say. But still, there's a lot of things it won't do. The lack of head movement, the fact his hands won't go together, the limited shoulder and groin area. It's sort of counteracted by the good use of the elbow and knee, but it's still very, very limiting for your posers. So I'm going to be fair and only score the articulation a 2 out of 5. Rolling on to extras and accessories. First thing I'll show, he's got the sort of bat launcher in his hand. Zoom in, you bitch. Show you the pose. Down, looking along his arm. That's the point I was making, where the spikes on the cowl don't line up to the 89 version of the cape. I'm sure Tony May is creating a new cape, but I know the price of them capes, and they've got to be worth a purchase. Look at how well that drapes down there. That is fucking beautiful. But just think if that lined up neat. Oof. I should get capes free for life from Tony. That is just a suggestion, Tony. If you're watching this, you've got to keep Uncle Clipper stocked with capes for life, because that's got to send some fucking business your way, my friend. That looks beautiful, and you know what I mean? Just think about it. Just think about it. So, as I said, it's got the launcher. I don't think that's the grapple gun on this one. It could be, but that will fold up and fit onto his belt. This will all detach. It is interchangeable. That's a nice touch. Moving down, the diorama style base, which will light up. Sadly, I ain't got no batteries in. I will say I really do like this stand. The sort of the snow effect on the bat symbol, I think it will complement the first version really nicely. And if they were to release the Penguin or Catwoman, I think you could have a nice sort of matching bases because of the snow theme. I do really like that. Moving down, we have the instruction manual, which tells you basically how to swap the face plates, the eyes, how to swap the hands on and off, and how to treat the body, how to put the cape on, and so on and so forth. Worth a read on a figure like this. You don't want to damage out. Moving down, you get the flashlight tool for moving the eyes and swapping out the face plates. The two different face plates. I think my favourite of the face plates is the closed mouth one. These two for me aren't different enough, but I suppose it is a sort of a nice touch. If you haven't got the double set and you can't swap it out to the full Bruce Wayne head, this is an option. You can use either of these. Looking at the weaponry, we've got the that's the zipline launcher. There is an hand also for holding that. I'll just note the two zip lines that obviously you can feed into that. I'm not sure what these are. I think they're sort of like targeted throwing stars, but I could be wrong. The detonator box, I'm not 100% sure what that is, so if I've got it wrong, please correct me. The backcom, obviously for the voice activation on the car, and then the large targeted sort of batarang. Let's see, it's got the controls on it, it's got the 4 targets on it, and then it looks like it's all been unfolded. It is just sculpted, it won't open and close, so don't try. And then spare hand pegs, and then we're looking at the hands. I think, like I said, these are resculpts of the previous hands, which is no bad thing, but I just wanted to point it out because they do look very, very similar. That is the hand for holding the zip line and does hold it really well. Sort of got a couple of relaxed hands, the fisted hands, the hands for holding the smaller accessories. So yeah, I think we have pretty much got the hands covered, and obviously you've got a spread hand as well. Decent set of extras, I suppose, because you can sort of create an interchangeable face look. You can move the eyes, so that is, I suppose, equal to a swappable head. You do get the diorama style base, a good selection of hands, and a good selection of weapons and gadgets. So, not as good as some things I've seen, but it's kind of getting up there. So I am gonna, I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna treat you to a look round this, because this is beautiful. Any language that you speak, this is fucking beautiful. If this don't get 100 likes on Instagram, this pose, I don't know what will, because cape wise, arm art, looking at arm, anywhere you want to look at it from, look, oh, fuck off Uncle Clipper, you bastard. Gives a fucking chance, you're thinking, Jesus. No, if you're rolling in my gang, boys, you've got to be up to a fucking challenge. If you're not, can't stand to eat, get out of Clipper's kitchen. That's all I want to fucking say. That's beautiful. Anybody find a review with better posing it than that, fucking link it to me, because I don't think you'll find one. Anyway, I'll stop blowing my own horn. I'll get back to scoring this bitch up. So, extras and accessories, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. Maybe a little bit generous, bearing in mind you don't get the Bruce Wayne head, but I'm still going to give it the 4 out of 5. I'm Batman. So let's move to the sum up. Before we do, let's just bring this fucker down. Just show you what I've conjured up for you now. The hanging out of a Gotham. That's what you get when you invest in your cheeky little new Goblin stand. That's beautiful. Remember 89 Batman review with Clipper King pose? With wing spread. Oh, I think I just made fucking Clipper King pose number 2. That might be beautiful. Let's have a fucking look round it. I keep getting on and off this fucking bed. Oh. Easy does it. Fucking beautiful. Look at that. Get light behind him. Boom. Right, so sum up. Let me tell you. I only score out of 30 now, as you all know. So I'm going to give this one a 20 out of a possible 30. You'd know that if you've been following the scores. It is a really, really nice figure. I don't want to sound like an American reviewer, keep saying really, really nice. But it is a really good figure. Very statuesque. I prefer the 89 version still. In some categories, this in others. I will say that there is one definite in the comparison. I'll pick up on this again when I get onto the comparison video. This one is definitely more imposing than the first one. I think it's a little bit taller. I think the sharper lines, the cowl in particular, just makes it look pretty badass. I've got to say a massive thanks to Lee Ward for sponsoring this review and sending me this figure. Massive shout out to him. Really grateful for it. Like I said earlier, I do appreciate all the help I get. If it weren't for a lot of you guys, my channel would be a lot lighter than it is now. So please bear that in mind. Anybody who else wants to help me, or I don't know, don't mind me reviewing their figures. There is a lot of figures out there now I haven't reviewed that I would be interested in reviewing. But like I say, it's always nice to be trusted with other people's stuff. So, like I say, check out The Good, The Bad and The Robots. That's the online store. Can pre-order figures. There's some figures in stock. possibly this figure. Yeah, so have a look, and if you do see Lee Ward around the Facebook groups, it would be nice if some of you guys would say thanks to him for letting me borrow this, because it has been very good of him. Like I said, the figure scored a 20 out of 30, which is really good, definitely above average. If you can get away from the fact that you're not going to be able to get no mental poses really. The cape would want swapping out when Tony May releases the new cape. But other than that, there's not a great deal wrong with the figure, I've got to say. Definitely been happy to see it. Please comment, subscribe, and like my videos. The more likes I get, obviously, the more activity I get. It does spread my channel around. So thanks to you guys for watching. But for now, this is Clipper King, and I am out of here.